Hi everyone, and welcome to the first building tutorial I'm going to be doing on Fortnite. We're going to be going through simple builds that you can do, quite easy to learn and things you can just do in creative by yourself. They're all going to be quite useful to you in normal Fortnite games. I'm going to be teaching you on a controller, however the mechanics can be transferred over to a PC. The buttons I'll be calling out will be on PS4, but these can just be converted to Xbox. So the first build we're going to learn is a 90. So I'll go through it quite slowly, call out the buttons, and then I'll speed it up and show you how it would look in game. So in order to do this, you want to place a ramp. Now on PS4 this will be with L2, and then you want walls behind, above and to the right, and this will be with R2. If you do have turbo building on, you can just hold the R2 button instead of tapping. Most people do have turbo building, so it would look like this, but sped up. But obviously you want to start off slow and learn how to do them slightly quicker, so you probably go at the speed that I did at the start, and by the end you'll eventually get to my speed or even faster. When you are doing them, I like to place floors underneath. This is just a preference, so if I do get stuck like I do here, it's a simple build out to the side and you can continue. Now when you're using 90s, often in games you wouldn't just build up like that. You'd build up maybe 3 or 4 and then build towards a person. So you really just want to learn that pattern and then you build out like I did there. And then that'll be good for you in games. The second type of build we're going to learn is something you would use when you're building out from the side of your 90s. So as you saw there, you want a wall, ramp and floor to reinforce your build, so when you get shot you don't just instantly go down and take fall damage. So in order to do these, they're quite simple. Your first one would just consist of a wall and a ramp like this, L2 and R2 again, because there will always be a floor underneath when you start. However, after this you want to go floor, ramp, wall, floor, ramp, wall, floor, ramp, wall, floor, ramp, wall. And it's just 3 buttons being pressed in the same order each time, so quite easy to learn. This will be in order R1, L2, R2, and then the same order every time. So you would use those when building up on someone so they can't just shoot you down dead quick, and you can often connect to their builds before they've shot you down. But you obviously don't want to just continuously build high, otherwise you will just get shot down and take fall damage. So moving on to the next is a different way you can go up. So you can place a cone and a wall and then just jump and place a floor, and this will go up. This saves a lot of mats compared to a 90 where you would do that. So if you're in games where you don't have a lot of mats, this is an effective way to go up. However, if they just shoot one wall out, you will fall. So it's not safe to build up that way, but if you have to, it is a way of doing it, and it can be massive to go quite fast. So the buttons to do this would be L1, R2, R1, L1, R2, R1. And it's as simple as that. Finally, we're going to move on to some editing. We'll just show you some wall, ramp and cone edits, because floor edits are quite simple. So with the wall, the main edits used in Fortnite will be this one, where you take out the bottom right. You can do this on either side, bottom left, top left and top right, but it's always the same 3, if that makes sense. The most used is this one because of the right hand peek system in Fortnite. When I'm stood here, they can't peek over with the left, so I can just jump and shoot them without them seeing me. This is used for tunneling, so if any of you do go into competitive, you would be in a box like this and you would tunnel out. And yeah, it's basically moved for editing out of your box and sometimes shooting people, sometimes just a move. The next wall edit is just a simple window. Now this is taking 1 square out of any of the middle sections, so middle, left middle, right middle. You can make 2 windows if you wanted to, but I personally wouldn't, because you can get shot from either side then. And you can also do a door and a window, which is quite pointless, but it's there. Finally, as you've just seen then, there's the door. So it's just 2 down on either side. You can build on the left, right and centre. and they're the main wall edits used. There are obviously more where you can shrink your walls, you can do that, but it's very similar to this one. And you can make your walls really thin as well, but I wouldn't recommend using any of those edits really. But they are there. So if you want to watch that in slow motion, you can just slow the video down in the settings and you can see how to do those edits. There's also edit courses in Fortnite, which if you search on the internet you'll find some. You can go and create and do them, and that'll speed up your edits as well. So moving on to ramp edits. So there's a few you can use and a few different techniques you can use. So the first one is just, you want to grab the bottom left and you can half it, and you can also do that in the bottom right like this. You can do that either direction, and you can pretty much use that to go down when you're high up in a box fight if you were doing them, or just to trick someone and edit them down. The next one is just flipping the ramp. You want to grab the middle square or middle box of either side you want to flip it, and then drag it where you want to flip it, like that. And you can flip this again in any direction you want. Another edit is, this is mainly used for box fights, so if you imagine someone's under me here, you would edit like that, and they think you'll be dropping down on them, because that is the usual edit they do, and then you can reset this and you drop down behind them and shoot. Obviously this can be done at speed, like screw it up there, but like that, and then you use a shotgun to shoot them. They're pretty much the ramp edits you'd use. Usually it's just flipping ramps like this, or halving ramps that you'd use. That last edit, it's good to learn, but it's not very frequently used, so I'd focus more on the others. Finally, going on to cone edits. You can turn them into a ramp. Some people build like this. I wouldn't recommend, because you've already got a ramp that's the exact same, does the same job. The others are for either editing up like this, or editing out of a box, which is what they're usually for. So you'd be like this. Let's just pretend this was a ramp. So in order to build up here, you'd want to do that. There's also what I just did there for cones. So in order to protect your head when you're building up on someone if they're above you, you'd place a cone and edit one of the corners like this, or you can edit both, it doesn't matter, because either way you get through. It's quite difficult to do this at speed, and it takes a lot of learning, but it is very effective if you can do it, and some people at top level can edit both floor and wall like that. It's quite difficult to do, but a good thing to learn if you can. Couple more. So if you want an all-round peak in a box, you can edit your cone like this, and you'd be stood here and you can peek at every angle except behind you. This is better than ramps. I usually use cones in ramps because they're easier to edit, because it's just 4 boxes instead of having to drag things, and I find it a lot simpler to use these, but it's just personal preference. And finally, it would be editing down, which is often through a cone and a floor, and it's just taking away a square from each. They're the edits I use. There are obviously more. So there's what's called a Dorito edit, which, I mean, it can be useful, but I personally don't use it. There's the one I showed you before, which is the inverted triangle. And then there's just the singles, the ramps, etc. That's all the cone edits you need to learn. So again, if you want to slow these down, just use the settings on the video. Your edit button will often start off as circle or B. I've changed it to right on my pad. And you also have an edit hold time in your settings. Mine is on the minimum because it's a separate button, but if you are using circle or B, which is also going to bring out your build menu, you don't want it on the minimum, or when you try to build you'll end up in your edits. That's essentially everything. Thank you for watching, and if you want to learn some more complicated builds, or me show these type of builds in a game, then just let me know. Until next time, thanks for watching.